Hi, welcome to our Pharma Topics channel, which tries to simplify the pharmacy subjects and allied health sciences subjects and make it useful for the students and encourage the reading. Today, our topic is cardiac arrhythmias. Before entering into this, let us see what is a cardiac action potential and what are the ion channels in the heart. Actually, the impulse starts from the SA node, enters to the AV node, then bundle of His, Purkinje fibers, and then to the ventricles. During this, several ion channels open and close. During phase 0 to 1, the sodium channels open and they enter into the myocardial cells, and during the phase 2, the calcium channels open and they enter into the myocardial cells. At the same time, the potassium channels are leaky, they open and they extrude outward the myocardial cells. During phase 3, still the potassium channels are open, and that becomes the repolarization phase. You can observe from this diagram different parts of the heart, they have their recordings in the ECG as P wave, which corresponds to the atrial contraction, and then to the AV node. Then the ventricular contraction is recorded as QRS, and then the T wave is recorded as the ventricular relaxation. So they have the different areas of the heart have different action potentials. SA node has action potential, and the resting membrane potential is around minus 70 millivolts. Whereas with the other fibers of the heart, such as Purkinje fibers, it is around minus 90 millivolts. And then for the ventricles, they start after the conduction received from the Purkinje fibers. You can observe from this diagram, they have the action potential at different points of time, and one beat corresponds to the SA node conduction, then AV node received, AV node conduction, Purkinje fibers, then followed by the ventricles. Whereas at the same time, when the ventricles complete the relaxation, before that itself the SA node has started already to give another impulse. So that is why they are called as pacemakers of the heart. Let us see the electrophysiology of cardiac arrhythmias. There are two reasons for the cardiac arrhythmias. The prominent reason is increased automaticity of the SA node or the ectopic pacemakers, which arise and they generate impulses when the overdrive suppression of the SA node is not there. It is not there. So the ectopic pacemakers, which are present in the AV node or Purkinje fibers, they start generating the impulse and they correspond to the cardiac arrhythmias. And the next prominent reason is the conduction abnormalities. The conduction abnormalities may be of two types. One is it's a retrograde conduction, which is due to the ischemic tissue which is present in the cardiac cells, and then that does not conduct the impulse further. The next important reason is even the damaged tissue also conducts, and that leads to re-entry of the impulses to the ventricular or the atrial tissue. So this leads to the different air rhythms. The normal rhythm of the heart is recorded as earlier mentioned PQRST wave, and zero point 0.8 seconds corresponds to one heartbeat. So when it gets disturbed in the atrium, that causes atrial flutter, then it leads to atrial fibrillation, then it leads to ventricular tachycardia, ventricular fibrillation, and sometimes the QT prolongation is done by the drugs such as antipsychotic drugs or quinidine like drugs. So they increase the QT potential and they may cause Torsades de Pointes. So the classification of anti-arrhythmic drugs is like this. There are five classifications of the anti-arrhythmic drugs. by Vaughan and Williams. Class 1 drugs are sodium channel blockers such as quinidine, lidocaine, and propafenone. Class 2 drugs are basically beta blockers, and they are esmolol, propranolol, and metoprolol. Class 3 drugs are potassium channel openers which act at the phase 3, and they are amiodarone, ibutylide, sotalol. Class 4 drugs are L-type calcium channel blockers such as diltiazem and verapamil. And the class 5 drugs are miscellaneous drugs, and they are adenosine, digoxin, and magnesium sulfate. So let us see the class 1A drugs. The class 1A drugs is subdivided into class 1A, 1B, and class 1C drugs. And these class of drugs, they bind to the activated sodium channels, and they doesn't bind to the resting channels. So these drugs, let us see the class 1A drugs. Class 1A drugs, they prolong the action potential, and they decrease the automaticity, decrease the heart rate. Whereas class 1B drugs, they are, they doesn't affect the fast acting channels. They act at the slow acting channels or the inactivated channels, and they dissociate from the receptors very fast. So they does not prolong the action potential. Whereas class 3, that is class 1C drugs, they markedly slow the action potential. They have uh, they have higher affinity to the cardiac receptors. So they are class 1A drugs. They prefer open channel sodium channels than the inactivated channels, and they have slow rate of dissociation. And the drugs are quinidine, procainamide, and disopyramide. And the next class of drugs are 1B, and they prefer inactivated channels when compared to the open sodium channels, and they rapidly dissociate from the receptors. And class 1C drugs prefer open channels when compared to the inactivated sodium channels, very similar to class 1A, but only one difference, they have very slow rate of dissociation, and the drugs corresponding are flecainide and propafenone. So let us see class 1A drugs. The first drug is quinidine. It is basically obtained from the bark of cinchona. Chloroquine is already an anti-malarial drug, and quinidine is also used as anti-malarial, but it is a weak anti-malarial. Quinidine is given for oral administration for arrhythmias. The therapeutic uses are supraventricular tachycardia and ventricular tachycardia. And there are many adverse effects for this drug. Diarrhea, it may cause torsades, depointus because it prolongs the QT, and higher doses lead to a neurological toxicity of a triad called tinnitus, vertigo, that is called chinchonism. And the next drug is procainamide. It is class 1A antiarrhythmic drug. It is a derivative of the local anesthetic procaine. The therapeutic uses are, it is the drug of choice for atrial fibrillation and Wolff-Parkinson White syndrome. The adverse effects are actually it is amide gets acetylated. So there are subset of patients who can acetylate the drug very fast. They have lesser therapeutic efficacy, whereas some of the patients they acetylate the drug very slowly. That causes accumulation of the drug. It leads to toxicity. So they may cause lupus erythematosus, a skin disorder, which could be identified prior administration. The DNA testing is available. And the next class of drugs are class 1B drugs. The first drug is lignocaine. It is basically a local anesthetic. It is used as an antiarrhythmic only intravenously. The therapeutic uses are, it is the drug of choice for ventricular arrhythmias due to digitalis toxicity or arrhythmias occurring after a myocardial infarction or cardiac surgery. The adverse effects are neurological in nature, that is nervousness, tremor, and paresthesia. Mexiletine is an analog of class 1B lignocaine, and it is a oral analog. There is no need to give IV. For patients who does not prefer IV, they may go for mexiletine. The therapeutic uses are it is used only for long-term treatment of life-threatening ventricular arrhythmias. So let us see the class 1C drugs. Class 1C drugs is flecainide. Therapeutic uses are it is the drug of choice for Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, supraventricular tachycardia, and life-threatening ventricular arrhythmias. The adverse effects are it may increase the ventricular rate leading to myocardial infarction. So it is not suitable for patients who recover from myocardial infarction and who are having arrhythmia due to that. Apart from this, the adverse effects are bronchospasm, leukopenia, and seizures. The next drug is propafenone. Its therapeutic use is for long-term treatment of supraventricular tachycardia and atrial fibrillation. The adverse effects are QT prolongation and hematological toxicities such as agranulocytosis, anemia, and thrombocytopenia. Let us see what are class 2 drugs. They are esmolol, propranolol, and metoprolol. Basically, these drugs are beta blockers. They inhibit the sympathetic activation and their corresponding effects on the heart. The therapeutic uses of esmolol, it is available as IV injection used for acute supraventricular tachycardia and emergency control of ventricular rate in atrial fibrillation or flutter, or they may be used as antihypertensive during or after surgery. Propranolol and metoprolol are the drugs of choice for atrial fibrillation and Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. They prevent the cardiac reperfusion injury, which is occurring after the start of fibrinolytic therapy. So let us see what are class 3 drugs. The most important drug in class 3 is amiodarone. They are all potassium channel blockers. Amiodarone is the longest acting antiarrhythmic drug. It has a half-life of about nearly 40 to 120 days. It is a wide spectrum antiarrhythmic. It is a powerful inhibitor of ectopic pacemakers. It is available both oral and IV. The therapeutic uses are atrial flutter and atrial fibrillation, and they control the ventricular rate. There are numerous adverse effects for amiodarone because it contains iodine. It may cause hyper or hypothyroidism, and it may cause hepatotoxicity. For nearly 6 months, the patients has to be followed for they have to be monitored for liver function tests, and it may cause neurotoxicity such as peripheral neuropathy, and it is also cardiotoxic. It may cause bradycardia and torsedus depointus. Regular monitoring of ECG and cardiac uh, things are essential. It may cause ocular toxicity. It may cause optic neuritis, corneal microdeposits, and photosensitivity. So UV rays, they may not bear the UV rays. So regular ocular checkup is mandatory, and it may cause a very rare adverse effect called pulmonary fibrosis. So chest X-rays has to be taken before, after, or during the therapy with amiodarone. The next drug is dronedarone. It is an analog of amiodarone, but it lacks iodine. So the uses are same, atrial flutter and fibrillation, but it has hepatotoxicity, and it has very few adverse effects when compared to amiodarone. So it is preferable for patients who cannot tolerate amiodarone. The next drug is ibutilide and dofetilide. It is used for atrial flutter and atrial fibrillation. It is approved by FDA for the conversion of atrial fibrillation to normal sinus rhythm. Whereas all the other drugs used in atrial fibrillation, they control the ventricular rate, but this drug is used to control atrial fibrillation to normal sinus rhythm. The adverse effects are it does not alter the heart rate or blood pressure, but it may cause torsedus depointus. The next drug is beryllium. It is basically an adrenergic neuron blocker. It is used therapeutically for many arrhythmias. So it is better called as a pharmacological defibrillator. It may cause postural hypotension as adverse effect. The next drug is sotalol. Basically, it is a beta blocker, but since it blocks the potassium channel opening, so it is better classified as class 3. The therapeutic uses are ventricular arrhythmias, atrial flutter, and atrial fibrillation. The adverse effects are torsades D pointers. It may cause bronchospasm also. And a new drug which has entered the market is Vendracalant. It is a multi-channel ion blocker. It is used selectively to prolong the atrial refractory period without affecting the ventricles. So it is used to convert atrial fibrillation to normal sinus rhythm. It has a little or no pro-arrhythmic action when compared to all the anti-arrhythmic drugs. The next class of drugs is class 4 anti-arrhythmic drugs. It is a calcium channel blocker. They block the voltage gated calcium channels and decreases phase 4 depolarization in SA node and AV node. It has many therapeutic uses. It is used in supraventricular tachycardia, paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, atrial flutter and atrial fibrillation. The adverse effects, it can exacerbate the or increase the ventricular tachycardia. The last class is class 5. Digoxin, it's basically a positive inotropic agent. It increases the vagal activity and controls the ventricular rate. It is used therapeutically for atrial flutter and atrial fibrillation. And the next class of class 5 agent is adenosine. It is used as a rapid bolus IV injection, but it has a very shorter half-life of less than 10 seconds. It acts on the adenosine receptors, causes activation of acetylcholine sensitive potassium channels, open it and leads to hyperpolarization of AV node and SA node and decrease the QT, that is, it increases the QT prolongation. Conduction is decreased. It is used therapeutically, drug of choice for paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia and Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. The adverse effects are flushing of face and bronchospasm. The last drug is magnesium sulfate. It is the second most ion commonly found in the intracellular next to the potassium. The therapeutic uses are it suppresses the drug-induced torsades D pointers and digitalis induced ventricular arrhythmias, and also many supraventricular tachycardia due to magnesium deficiencies. So let us see what are the drugs of choice for the arrhythmias. The drug of choice for atrial flutter and fibrillation for acute therapy to control the rate of propranolol is used to convert to normal sinus rhythm. Ibutylide is used. For chronic therapy, digoxin, amiodarone and verapamil are used. The drug of choice for paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia, acute therapy, adenosine injection is used. For chronic therapy, propranolol, amiodarone and verapamil are used. The drug of choice for ventricular tachycardia, for acute therapy it is lignocaine, magnesium, whereas for chronic therapy it is sotalol, amiodarone and quinidine. The drug of choice for torsades D pointers, that is the arrhythmias due to drug-induced acute therapy is with magnesium. For both congenital as well as acquired torsades D pointers. For chronic therapy, it is propranolol, but it is used only for congenital torsades D pointers. The drug of choice for Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome is flecainide. For chronic therapy, propranolol and amiodarone are preferred. The drug of choice for digitalis-induced arrhythmias are for acute therapy, lignocaine and phenytoin are used, whereas for chronic therapy, propranolol is used. I hope I have given a nutshell of all the anti-arrhythmic drugs, their corresponding uses and adverse effects. I hope it will be useful for the students. Thank you for listening. Kindly encourage us by subscribing to our channel. Thank you.